Chapter 721. Vicar was sitting alone in the room in a daze. Vicar. Suddenly, a cold voice sounded in her mind. Who is it? Vicar's face changed, and he looked around. Don't look for me. You can't see me. Gu Shengyin said in Vicar's mind. Vicar's face was a little panicked, but he still tried to keep calm. Who are you? Why are you looking for me? What was she afraid of? She had never encountered such a thing. The voice did not answer her question, but asked, Do you want to be strong? Vicar was moved, but he did not speak. Do you want to be worshipped by all the orcs, and let them recognize your status, instead of being obsessed with your body? Although the voice was very cold, Vicar felt that there was a kind of magic in her words. Moreover, every word was right in his heart. How could he not want to? But Vicar knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. She wandered among countless male beasts in the Li tribe and easily won their hearts. She relied not only on the beauty of her body. What can you bring me? What price do I have to pay? Vicar asked cautiously. Gu Shengyin praised her in her heart. She was indeed a fox girl. She was so delicate that she caught the key point at once. Like the beast god, swear allegiance to me. She said, I can tell you how to be strong, and let the whole Li tribe belong to you. Let the whole Li tribe belong to you. This sentence was like thunder in Vicar's mind. She unconsciously thought of the high priest of the Owl clan that day. She was so high and mighty. Her appearance was so beautiful, but in the entire Owl clan, not a single male beast dared to look at her disrespectfully. This was the benefit of strength and power. I need to think about it, Vicar said with difficulty. Well, I'll give you 3 days. After 3 days, I'll come and ask for your answer. The room was quiet again. Vicar did not know if the mysterious person had really left. She tried to call out, but there was no response. After thinking for a while, she laughed self-deprecatingly. With the other party's miraculous means, if he really wanted to deal with her, it would be a simple matter. He wouldn't even need to spend much effort. Gu Shengyin retracted her spiritual consciousness and opened her eyes. She knew that Vicar would not refuse her. On that day, she clearly saw the unwillingness and ambition in Vicar's eyes. A female beast with such a gaze would definitely not be willing to become the exclusive offspring of a male beast. With her looks, the only way out for her was to become stronger. He had become even stronger than those male beasts who coveted her. As early as the moment she saw Vicar, Gu Shengyin made this decision. A woman like Vicar, if used well, would be a sharp blade. Having such a subordinate was much better than having such an enemy, wasn't it? 3 days later, Gu Shengyin got a positive answer from Vicar. Beast God above, I, Vicar, hereby swear that I will be loyal to Master Wu Luo for the rest of my life. Vicar made an oath according to the words Gu Shengyin gave her. When she knew that this person was Wu Luo, she was surprised. But after the surprise, she felt relieved. A female beast like her, what could she not do? Chapter 722. After Vicar made the vow, he felt as if something had come to him in the dark. She was a little scared. Was the beast god watching her? She had some thoughts in her heart, but now she hid them deep in her heart. Close your eyes, Gu Shengyin said lightly. Vicar closed her eyes, and soon, something went into her mind like a tide. Every 10 days, I will come here. If you don't understand anything, you can come to me. Gu Shengyin said. I will give you this, and the rest is up to you. I hope that after a year, you can completely control the Li clan in your own hands. After she finished, she withdrew her divine sense from Vicar's mind, leaving Vicar alone in a daze. She passed on to Vicar a secret cultivation method of the Fox clan. Although it was called a secret cultivation method, it was not a profound cultivation method, but something more like a charm. This kind of cultivation method was the best for Vicar, a female beast of the Fox clan. She was originally gifted, and now with this, Gu Shengyin had no doubt that she could make all the male beasts who had touched her to be loyal to her. 1 year, Gu Shengyin thought carefully. By then, the overall strength of the Owl clan should have a qualitative improvement. The little orcs who had been taught by her for almost 2 years had been able to use wizard power skillfully, and with the help of the Lee clan. It was almost time. Teacher. A crisp voice sounded outside the door. Gu Shengyin smiled when he heard that. This was one of the first batch of little orcs who had wizard power detected by her. She let these 30 little orcs call her teacher. And this little orc was the only little unicorn among them. Moreover, she had no parents. The number of unicorns was extremely rare. At that time, the male beasts of the Owl clan also rescued this precious little female beast from the mouth of a beast when they were hunting, and raised her in the clan until now. This little unicorn named Alice was Gu Shingyin's loyal fan, and also the one with the strongest wizard power among all the little orcs. Come in, Gu Shingyin said. The little girl skipped into the room. She was only 10 years old this year. She had long silver-white hair like Gu Shingyin's, reaching her waist. The only difference between her and Gu Shengyin was that her transformation had not fully matured yet. There was a delicate white horn on her small head, which made her look very cute. Teacher. She carefully stretched out her hand that was hidden behind her back. In her hand, she was holding a bouquet of beautiful flowers. There were even a few drops of morning dew on the petals. It was obvious that they had just been plucked. It was obvious that the little girl had spent a long time looking for these flowers. Every single one of them had bloomed at their most beautiful time. Gu Shengyin could not resist such an obedient and cute little girl. She solemnly accepted little Alice's gift and said seriously, "Thank you, Alice. Teacher likes you very much." When Orvis entered the room, he saw a scene that made his heart tremble. Gu Shengyin half squatted down and allowed the little unicorn girl with the same silver-white hair to place a delicate and beautiful flower in her hair. He realized that Master Wu Luo would always be extra gentle towards little children. Master Wu Luo really liked little children. He wondered if she had her own little orc. He thought about how there would be a little soft orc like Master Wu Luo in the future. Orvis felt that not only his heart, but even the tips of his ears were burning. Chapter 723. A lot of things could happen in a year's time. For example, the 30 little orcs who learned from Gu Shengyin were able to successfully use the wizard power in their bodies and use some small spells. Systematic learning and self-exploration were 2 completely different levels. The little orcs now, in terms of the accumulation of wizard power, were not weaker than the priests in the ordinary tribes. One had to know that the oldest among them was only 11 years old. The male orcs of the Owl tribe had also greatly improved their overall strength. The longer the time, the more they could feel the changes in their bodies and strength. Now, it only took them 1 day to hunt for a day's worth of food for the whole tribe. The orcs who had tasted the benefits of strength would spend more time on practicing their skills. This was a virtuous cycle. Gu Shengyin also taught the female orcs in the tribe to distinguish some wild plants that could be eaten and some things that could be used as seasoning that had never been discovered before. She also taught them that there were more ways to cook food than boiling and roasting. The life of the Owl tribe had unknowingly far exceeded the average level of this world. There was also Vicar of the Lee tribe. The name of the fox girl could be said to be famous in the nearby tribes recently. The old high priest of the Lee tribe could not hold on after all and left this world for the embrace of the beast god. The remaining priests of the Lee tribe competed with each other to become the new high priest. However, what everyone did not expect was that Vicar suddenly rose at this time. With the support of many supporters, she suppressed all the voices of opposition with thunderous means and became the new high priest of the Lee tribe. Vicar didn't show any mercy to the Lee clan's people who opposed this matter. He sent them all to see the former high priest. Undoubtedly, compared to the opponents, she had more supporters. Even Gu Shengyin had to admire the ability of the fox girl. What she taught her was only a set of skills. Vicar could achieve this step mostly by her own strength. She did not know how she did it. The overbearing Black Panther tribe leader of the Lee tribe actually followed her lead. In the Lee tribe, the authority of the high priest now surpassed that of the tribe leader. In this case, of course, Vicar quickened the pace of consolidating his strength. The entire Lee clan was basically under his control. Of course, What surprised Gu Shengyin the most was Orvis. It had only been a year. Although she already knew that Orvis was definitely a genius with extraordinary talent, the speed of his improvement still surprised her. He had survived the most difficult time. In the beginning, Gu Shengyin had seen him a few times. He was so thin that he was just a pair of bones. Even his cheeks were deeply sunken. Even Tammen asked Gu Shengyin anxiously what had happened to Orvis. Why did he become like this? After all, ever since he became Gu Shengyin's personal bodyguard, Orvis no longer had to hunt with the orcs in the tribe every day. His mission was to follow Gu Shengyin closely. Fortunately, after half a year of adaptation, Orvis finally returned to normal. However, Gu Shengyin slowly realized that she could not understand this lion that was getting stronger and stronger. Chapter 724. In a year's time, Orvis had officially entered the stage of adulthood. His body grew taller rapidly and his originally thin body started to become stronger. His face also became more handsome and deep. His bright golden hair shone brightly under the sun. The charm of the golden lion started to show from his body. Gu Shengyin had seen more than once that there were female beasts in the owl tribe who were hinting at him. However, Orvis was no longer the young and inexperienced lion cub. He could make people dizzy with a charming smile and then say cruel words of rejection without giving people any hope. When the female beasts in the owl tribe talked about Orvis, their faces were filled with pity and shock. They wondered what kind of female beasts could win his heart. No one would link it to the high priest. This was because Gu Shengyin was no longer just the messenger of the beast deity in the hearts of the owl tribe members. Many beasts even felt that Master Wu Luo must be the incarnation of the beast deity. Otherwise, how could she know so many things and bring the owl tribe to such a prosperous state? If Master Wu Luo was compared to ordinary female beasts, it would be a blasphemy to her. Master Wu Luo, Orvis's deep voice rang out. Gu Shengyin let him in. When the tall and handsome man walked in, Gu Shengyin only felt that the entire room seemed to light up in an instant. This man was always unscrupulously releasing his masculine charm. When he looked at people with his dark golden eyes, it seemed that there was always a sharp sense of aggression. If it were anyone else, it would only make people feel disgusted when they looked at someone like that. However, Orvis seemed to be born with such an aura. Under his gaze, people would only feel oppressed and nervous as if space was being occupied. However, it was obvious that Gu Shengyin did not belong to this group of people. "What's the matter?" she asked. Orvis nodded and stared at her with his deep eyes. "I want to challenge Master Ta Meng tonight." In his eyes, there was a burning fighting spirit and passion, an ambition that could not be extinguished. Did Gu Shengyin not mean anything? In fact, she already found it unbelievable that Orvis could endure until now. Defeating Ta Meng is not difficult for the people of today. When Ao Weiss heard this, he smiled gently. He looked at Gu Shengyin with a strange gaze and said, "Lord Wu Luo, if I defeat Lord Ta Meng tonight and become the #1 warrior of the Owl tribe, can you promise me a request?" Gu Shengyin glanced at him and said calmly, "You have the nerve to ask for a mission that is not challenging at all?" His uncourteous tone made Orvis laugh out loud. Lord Wu Luo was perfect and impeccable in front of everyone. He was cold and courteous to everyone, but now, he was starting to blame himself. What did this mean? In her heart, he was different from others, right? Orvis felt as if there was a pool of clear water in the bottom of his heart, and Lord Wu Luo's words were like a stone thrown into that pool of clear water, causing endless waves to surge out. He could not help but cover his chest with his hand. It was already getting harder and harder to control the impulse in his heart. Chapter 725. At night, more than half of the orcs from the Owl tribe gathered together to watch the battle between the warriors. Tribal leader Tammen had always been the #1 warrior in the tribe, but everyone had seen Orvis's improvement over the past year. Moreover, he was following Master Wu Luo. Just this point alone was enough to make all the orcs not dare to underestimate him. Everyone knew that Master Wu Luo's methods were not something that ordinary orcs could think of. If Ovis was taught by her and became very powerful, they would understand. Gu Shangyin was invited to sit on the highest platform in the center and watch the battle from above. She did not need to watch to know the result. No one knew Ovis's true abilities better than she did. He had already surpassed the limits of a normal orc's abilities. At first, the two of them were still testing each other in their human forms. Not long after, the orc's aggressive nature was stimulated and they all revealed their beast forms. Taman's beast form was a titan, a powerful beast that was one of the kings of the forest. His beast form was very tall and had a dark body. The most eye-catching part was his long and powerful arms with sharp claws hidden under his palms. No one dared to underestimate the abilities of an adult titan. However, everyone's attention was attracted by the giant beast on the other side. Even Gu Shengyin, although she had seen Ovis's beast form before, was still shocked every time she saw it. The lion that stood quietly had golden fur without any impurities. Under the contrast of the bonfire, it looked as if its entire body was bathed in light. Its body was strong and graceful, and its dark golden eyes looked coldly at the opponent in front of it. It was like a mythical beast that symbolized benevolence and power in the tribe's myths and legends. Many female orcs looked at Ovis with infatuation and resentment. Many of them had expressed their feelings for Ovis before, but they were all coldly rejected without exception. Ovis felt a gaze on him. He knew who it was the only person he cared about. His body tensed up unconsciously. Ovis swore to himself that he had to win this battle beautifully. Roar! The two giant beasts roared and tangled together. The orcs who were watching all shouted excitedly. To them, being able to watch such a powerful battle was a very glorious thing. I lost, the Black Titan said in a deep voice. The huge golden lion was pressing down on him, its sharp fangs pressing against his neck. Taman had no doubt that if they were in the forest and he was facing an enemy, then this fang would have already bitten his throat. Ovis let go of the chief and retreated to the side. His body gradually transformed back into human form. The first thing he did was look at Gu Shengyin, who was on the high platform. When he saw the look of admiration in the high priest's eyes, his ears twitched involuntarily. This was a reaction of extreme excitement in his heart. Taman also returned to his human form. Although he was in Ovis's hands, he looked very happy. Good lad, you're amazing. He laughed heartily and patted Ovis's shoulder. The more powerful the young beastmen were, the better it was for the owl tribe. Tameng didn't feel that losing was shameful. If they really wanted to compete for strength, there was still a powerful high priest in the family that people looked up to. Chapter 726. Gu Shengyin stood up. All the beast men looked at her. Even Tameng stood respectfully at the side, waiting for her to announce the result. Gu Shengyin stood at the highest point and looked at the beast men on the ground. She said, I announce that the golden lion, Ovis, is the winner of this competition. He will become the new leader of the owl tribe and lead the owl tribe to a stronger future. Tameng was the first to move. He turned around and bowed to Ovis. Tameng greets the clan leader. He was not dissatisfied. The strongest was the king. This had always been the rule of the Orc continent. Even his own position as the patriarch was won by defeating the old patriarch back then. Ovis quickly supported him. Uncle Tameng, I still have much to learn from you in the future. Tameng's actions seemed to have influenced the rest of the beast men. They all copied Tameng's actions and bowed to Ovis in unison. Greetings to the great clan leader. Ovis was a little excited. He looked at the beast men bowing to him, and a surge of excitement spread from the bottom of his heart. Was this the taste of power and status? He did not miss this feeling. What made him happy was that he was one step closer to Lord Wu Luo. Ovis returned to his house as usual at night. His room was very close to Gu Shengyin. This was also the treatment he enjoyed after becoming the High Priestess' personal guard. As a male, he could not live in the same house as the female High Priestess. However, as her personal guard, he could not be too far away from her. Hence, The Owl tribe worked day and night outside the High Priestess' house to build this house. He became the new leader of the Owl tribe but did not break away from his identity as the High Priestess' personal guard. The people in the tribe did not say anything. Fortunately, they did not say anything. Otherwise, Orvis was sure that if he had to choose between being Lord Wu Luo's personal guard and being the clan leader of the Owl tribe, he would definitely choose the former without hesitation. "Lord Wu Luo, are you looking for me?" Orvis was a little excited. Lord Wu Luo rarely asked to see him. He did not know what was the matter this time. "Orvis." Gu Shengyin called his name. Orvis felt that hearing his name from the High Priestess was exceptionally pleasant to the ears. He looked at Gu Shengyin as if he was asking for her opinion. "Have you ever thought of ruling this continent with me?" Gu Shengyin went straight to the point, dropping a bombshell right off the bat. A.O. Weiss blinked. He knew Lord Wu Luo very well. From the series of things that Lord Wu Luo had done over the past year, A.O. Weiss had already guessed that Lord Wu Luo was not satisfied with letting the Owl tribe hide in this small plain. However, A.O. Weiss had never thought that Lord Wu Luo would have such great ambitions. Ruling over the entire mainland? After the initial shock, Orvis was filled with excitement. The ambition and desire to conquer were innate in the male beast's bones. Just thinking about what Gu Shengyin had said made his eyes light up. He looked at Gu Shengyin with a burning gaze. She was indeed the High Priestess. If she was an ordinary female beast, who would have the courage to say such words? "What do I need to do?" He knew that Lord Wu Luo must have his own thoughts for him to ask such a question. "What do you need to do?" Gu Shengyin suddenly smiled. "Just fight." Chapter 727. Gu Shengyin had thought about how to build a never-before-seen orc empire, but after thinking of many methods, she realized that none of them was faster and more effective than the simple and violent method of fighting. This world was originally a simple one that followed the law of the jungle. Then, the best way to convince others was to use force to conquer them. The current Owl tribe had the capital to do this. After Gu Shengyin finished speaking, she was about to ask Orvis for his opinion, but when she turned around, she realized that he was looking at her in a daze. Orvis had seen the High Priestess smile before. When she faced the little orcs, her expression would become exceptionally gentle, and she would even occasionally reveal a gentle smile. Sometimes, he would even be jealous of those little orcs. However, it was different today. It was his first time seeing Master Wu Luo smile like that. Her eyes were filled with pride and confidence, and the determined smile on her lips was so dazzling that he could not take his eyes off her. He couldn't control his restless heart. He really wanted to pull Master Wu Luo into his arms and make this stunning moonlight completely belong to him. When he came back to his senses, he saw Master Wu Luo looking at him with a faint smile. Her eyes were like the clearest lake on top of a snowy mountain. Time and everything could be clearly reflected in her eyes. At this moment, Orvis only had one thought: it's over. The High Priestess has discovered my feelings. He was a little flustered and did not know how to react. After his expression changed countless times, he finally mustered up the courage to look at Gu Shengyin. If she knew, then so be it. Anyway, he could not hide it forever, right? Gu Shengyin watched his expression change with interest. Finally, when he made up his mind and looked at her, she opened her mouth and said, "You have desires for me." It was not a question, but a tone of absolute certainty. She had indeed seen through it. Orvis did not know why, but after hearing this, he actually heaved a sigh of relief, as if something in his heart had finally been put down. He looked at Gu Shengyin nervously, but his words were resolute and decisive. "Yes." After saying his answer, he lowered his head and waited anxiously for the next trial. Will High Priest Dren be angry that I dare to covet her? Or would she just throw him out of here? Or, the male beast of Wu Luo must be the strongest and noblest orc on this mainland. A faint voice rang in his ears. Orvis raised his head in surprise, only to see Gu Shengyin's calm face. He carefully pondered the meaning of these words, and then a burst of ecstasy surged in his heart. Just as he was about to say something, A surge of energy suddenly rushed into his body, and he flew out of the room uncontrollably. Orvis, who had landed safely, looked at the door that was tightly shut after he came out. He couldn't hide the excitement on his face. Lord Wu Luo did not reject him. She said that she would only accept the most powerful and honorable beast men on the beast men continent, but she clearly said to him that she wanted to rule this continent with him. Did this mean that in Lord Wu Luo's heart, he had actually accepted him? Beast deity above, if this is a dream, please don't let him wake up. Chapter 728. With Gu Xingyin's words, Orvis was obviously full of energy. The next day, he gathered the backbone members of the Owl tribe and announced the news. Orcs were all warlike. The words of the new chieftain made a group of people high-spirited. Many orcs were eager to follow the chieftain and bring glory to the Owl tribe. Orvis's lips curled into a confident smile. He knew that no beastman could refuse such a proposal. When no tribe in the whole plains noticed, the Owl tribe had entered an emergency state of war. The whole tribe began to be busy. The male orcs went out to hunt as much prey as possible. The female orcs processed all kinds of food day and night, preparing dry food and clothes to keep warm in the cold. Far away in the Li tribe, Vicar, who was enjoying the warmth of a male orc, suddenly received Gu Xingyin's order. The Li tribe began to prepare for war as soon as possible. She was moved and understood that the Owl tribe was going to take action. Pushing away the big furry head on her chest, Vicar smiled and said, "Baruth, I have something to ask of you." The orc named Baruth looked at Vicar with infatuation and nodded when he heard her words. 3 months. This was the time that Orvis gave the orcs of the Owl tribe to prepare. It was also the deadline that Gu Xingyin gave to Vicar. 3 months later, a sudden lightning attack launched by the Owl clan swept across the entire plains. The surrounding tribes did not even have time to react before they were defeated by the fierce attack of the Owl tribe. It was at this time that they saw the ferocious fangs hidden under the calm appearance of the Owl tribe, who had not made any big movements for a long time. In the face of absolute strength, these tribes had no room to resist. And as if they had discussed it, when the Owl tribe launched the attack, the Li tribe also launched the attack on the surrounding tribes. Although their actions were not as fierce as the Owl tribe, the Li tribe was still the overlord on the other side of the river. The territories of the two tribes were approaching step by step. This kind of war lasted for 2 years. The Owl tribe had completely unified the entire plains on this side of the river. Just as everyone was guessing that they would set their sights on the other side of the river, Orvis gave the order to recuperate. Sir Wu Luo, A.O. Weiss personally brought the thin slices of meat to Gu Xingyin's tent. After years of war, it was naturally impossible for them to have a fixed residence. Gu Xingyin seized the opportunity to invent tents that were extremely suitable for marching and fighting. Orvis felt his heart ache when he saw the high priestess. Running about outside all year round naturally did not affect the strong physiques of the male beasts. However, Lord Wu Luo's body was notoriously weak. This kind of life made her originally pale to the point of being almost transparent, even more pale. Looking at her made one feel as if she would shatter into pieces with just a little bit of force. In fact, Gu Xingyin wasn't as weak as they had imagined. In fact, her body might not be any weaker than some male orcs, as the wizard power in her body had already reached a terrifying level. However, she didn't know what was going on with this body. Only she knew what was going on inside. In the eyes of outsiders, she was indeed so delicate that even the wind didn't dare to blow on her body. Chapter 729. The thin slices of meat were placed on the crisp and juicy leaves, emitting a rich aroma. It was so appetizing. Gu Xingyin said helplessly, "Okay, Orvis, I'm not as weak as you think." This man, as long as he was free, he would always follow her closely. It was as if he was afraid that something would happen to Gu Xingyin if he was not around. Orvis did not answer this question. He just gently handed the plate in his hand to Gu Xingyin. His actions were clearly saying to Gu Xingyin, "I don't believe your words." Gu Xingyin sighed inwardly. He knew in his heart that his appearance was probably not very convincing. She reckoned that if she insisted that her body was fine and told the Owl Tribe's orcs not to worry, it was very likely that she would be molded into a glorious image of someone who took the lead for the tribe and did not care about the safety of her own body. Gu Shangyin felt that her image in the Owl Tribe was already glorious enough. If she were to ask the Owl Tribe to abandon their belief in the beast god, there would be a group of fanatical followers who would support her without hesitation. Soon, Orvis suddenly said. 2 years of time and the baptism of war had added a kind of charm to him that was endowed by time and experience. When he looked at you with his mesmerizing dark golden eyes, even Gu Shangyin couldn't help but fall for him. This man, he was becoming more and more unwilling to hide his desire for her. Even many people in the Owl Tribe had already seen through the tribe leader's thoughts towards the high priest. If it was someone else, there would definitely be many Owl Tribe warriors who would not mind challenging that person. If he dared to covet the high priest, he would have to go through all the male orcs of the tribe first. However, if that person were to be brought in by Chief Orvis, the warriors of the Owl Tribe expressed that this would depend on the high priestess herself. In the past 2 days of war, Orvis had been leading the charge in almost every battle. He had perfectly displayed his strong fighting ability to all the orcs. He was so strong that he was perverted. The orc tribe warriors said that even if they all attacked together, they might not be a match for the tribe leader. If the high priest needed to find a male orc as a partner, a strong male orc like the tribe leader would definitely be the first choice. If they thought about it this way, it did not seem like it was unacceptable. Thus, Orvis had already won the admiration and sincere recognition of all the Owl Tribe members in battle after battle without batting an eyelid. Gu Shangyin lowered her eyes. However, Orvis suddenly came closer. The strong aura of a beast from his body surged toward Gu Shangyin and enveloped him. Gu Shangyin. There was an innate attraction between female and male orcs. This instinctive reaction. No matter how strong she was now, she could not stop it. Seeing Gu Shangyin's expression, Avis smiled gently. Lord Wu Luo, you promise me that when I become the most powerful and honorable orc in this mainland, you will be willing to become my partner. Gu Shangyin did not deny it. After so many years, as a male orc with strong instincts, Orvis's endurance was already strong enough. Seeing that Gu Shangyin did not deny it, Orvis's eyes flashed with joy. An even bolder idea appeared in his mind. He could not help but reach out and hold Gu Shangyin's hand. Chapter 730. Gu Shangyin was a little surprised. Although Orvis had never concealed his feelings for her, he had never done anything that was out of line. The most he did was to stand not too far away from her and look at her with those affectionate eyes. Why did he suddenly change his personality today? She didn't break away. If Gu Shangyin was surprised, then Orvis was ecstatic. Master Wu Luo didn't open her eyes. She allowed him to hold her hand. Gu Shangyin could feel that the orc's heart was beating very fast beside her. A wave of heat was emitted from his body, and the increasingly strong masculine scent made her transparent face blush a little. Orvis looked at the high priestess who was so close to him that he could hug her if he stretched out his hand. The blush on her face made her look more human. It was as if she had left the high and mighty altar and become a beast man with flesh and blood who knew how to love. He was conflicted in his mind. In the end, he couldn't resist the impulse in his heart. He raised his arm and hugged the slender person beside him tightly in his arms. She was really small. That was Orvis' first thought. The person in his arms was thin and weak. Orvis could wrap her tightly in his arms without any effort. Gu Shangyin couldn't get used to his sudden change in style. She struggled weakly and said calmly, "Orvis, you've crossed the line." Orvis felt the completely negligible struggle, but he did not obediently let go. Instead, he hugged the person in his arms even tighter. He felt the soft and slender body in his arms close to his chest and sighed contentedly. "Master Wu Luo, you're too thin," Gu Shangyin said. "Orvis." This time, there was a trace of sternness in her voice. Orvis heard a hint of unhappiness in her voice. He lowered his head and saw the person in his arms pursing her lips tightly. Her expression was as cold as ever and he couldn't tell what she was feeling at the moment. He sighed secretly. He knew that he couldn't be too hasty. He was already very happy to have such an unexpected surprise today. He reluctantly let go of the person in his arms and took a step back. Lord Wu Luo, I can swear to the beast deity that I, Aowasi, am willing to remain loyal and passionately in love with you for the rest of my life. He looked at Gu Shengyin with a fiery gaze and said intoxicating words of love without holding back. I can feel that you don't reject my intimacy, so why don't you try to accept me? His dark golden eyes, which were usually proud and flamboyant, were now filled with confusion and disappointment. Even his bright golden hair seemed to have lost its luster at this moment. Even though she knew that he was just putting on an act, Gu Shengyin couldn't help but feel her heart soften when she heard his words. After all, he was her lover in every world. She said softly, Orvis, give me time. She didn't reject him. She only said that she needed time to get used to it. Orvis's previously dim eyes suddenly glowed brightly. He stared at Gu Shengyin and said hoarsely, I can wait, Master Wu Luo. When the Owl tribe unifies the Orc continent, I will personally ask you to be my partner in front of the beast deity. When that time came, this person would truly and completely belong to him. Chapter 731. The Owl clan rested for a full half a year's time this time. Some tribes that had formed an alliance with the Owl tribe were very anxious because they saw that the Li tribe had gradually cleared out the surrounding tribes in the past 6 months. The strength of the entire Li tribe was also increasing step by step. Why didn't the Owl tribe attack the Li tribe in one go when they were still young? However, the Owl tribe didn't give an explanation because it was an order from the high priest. The high priest said to let the Owl tribe rest well. After 2 years of war, the warriors in the tribe had worked hard. Although they didn't understand, in the hearts of the orcs of the Owl tribe, the high priest's order was the truth. In addition, the tribe leader also supported the high priest unconditionally. No one could offend Gu Shengyin's authority in the Owl tribe. When the allied tribes saw this, although they were very anxious, their strength was there. If the Owl tribe wasn't anxious, there was nothing they could do even if they were anxious. Hence, all the tribes watched helplessly as the Li tribe wiped out the tribes that went against them one by one and became the king of the tribes on the other side of the river. At this time, some rumors started to spread from the smaller tribes, saying that the high priest's plan had gone awry. Originally, the best time for the Owl race to attack the Li clan was when they were busy fighting. But now that the Li clan was fully fledged, it wouldn't be easy for the Owl race to bite this hard bone. The high priest of the Owl tribe, Wu Luo, had always been inviolable in the hearts of the orcs. Such rumors shook the beliefs of a large portion of the orcs. Other than the orcs of the Owl tribe who maintained an unwavering belief in the high priest, some of the conquered tribes gradually revealed their dissatisfaction with Gu Shengyin. The one who had led the warriors to defeat them was the leader of the Owl tribe, Orvis. The only person they were convinced of was the orc who was so powerful that no one could match him. To them, High Priest Wu Luo was just an unreachable legend. When Gu Shengyin heard the news, she didn't have much of a reaction. She knew that with more people, she would have more ideas. However, if it was an unintentional rumor, it would be fine. If someone wanted to use this opportunity to divide the Owl tribe, a skinny male orc was tied up by Orvis and brought in front of Gu Shengyin. Lord Wu Luo, this is the guy who secretly spread unfavorable rumors about you. Ao Weiss looked at the orc with murderous intent. Gu Shengyin glanced at him. From his appearance, he should be a beast man from the goat tribe. Can you tell me what benefits you can get by smearing my reputation? Gu Shengyin asked in a calm tone, as if there was no trace of anger in his voice. The orc from the goat tribe stared at Gu Shengyin blankly for a while. He only reacted when Orvis kicked him with a black face. Orvis had originally wanted to kill this fellow. Now that he saw that he actually dared to stare at Lord Wu Luo, he wanted to tear him into pieces even more. The orc from the goat tribe stammered, I just feel that Lord Orvis is wise and powerful. He shouldn't be suppressed by Lord High Priest. You're still quibbling. Orvis was furious. What did he mean by that? Was he trying to sow discord between him and Lord Wu Luo? He looked at Gu Shengyin anxiously. Lord Wu Luo wouldn't believe him, right? However, Gu Shengyin didn't show any emotions on her face. However, her words made Orvis calm down a little. Chapter 732. Speak the truth in front of the beast deity. She looked at the orc from the goat tribe indifferently. Her words were like a heavy hammer that exploded in his mind. The orc from the goat tribe looked at Gu Shengyin in horror as if he had seen something extremely terrifying. He felt that those clear and cold eyes were like the clearest mirror in the world. All of his dirty thoughts could not be hidden from those eyes. I just feel that Master Orvis is so powerful, but he has always been suppressed by Master Wu Luo in terms of reputation and prestige. He must be feeling indignant. If we can provoke discord and conflict between the two of you, our small tribes can take advantage of the opportunity to share some benefits. He seemed to be unable to control his mouth, spilling out all the beans in his heart. It shouldn't be like this. He only realized what he had said after he finished speaking and looked at Gu Shengyin in horror. She was like a monster. When he met those silver-white eyes, his thoughts did not even belong to him anymore. Orvis had long been surrounded by an oppressive atmosphere. Damn it, how dare she try to sow discord between him and Master Wu Luo. This was definitely something that he could not tolerate. Master Wu Luo? He looked at Gu Shengyin inquiringly. Gu Shengyin nodded. Take him away. Let those people see what happens to those with bad intentions. That one sentence decided the fate of the orc from the goat tribe. Gu Shengyin had no pity in her heart. At this time, it was time for the owl tribe to establish their authority in front of all the tribes. If this matter was let go easily, not only would her reputation as the high priestess suffer a huge blow, even the authority of the entire owl tribe among all the tribes would be greatly challenged. Orvis took his men away and soon he came back in. There was no smell of blood on his body and there was even a gentle smile on his face. However, Gu Shengyin did not think that the orc from the goat tribe would have a good ending because of this. She did not like the smell of blood. Ever since Orvis found out about this matter, he did not show any smell that she disliked in front of her. Lord Wu Luo, Aowasi seemed a little hesitant. Gu Shengyin looked at him questioningly. He said, "Just now, the goat beastman's words." He wanted to say that he was not dissatisfied with her at all. She should be a goddess that everyone worshipped. He was willing to believe in her for the rest of his life. Gu Shengyin interrupted him. I know, Orvis. She looked at the slightly nervous male beast man seriously, her eyes full of warmth. I know all about your feelings for me. You should also try to believe in me. Believe in my judgment, believe in me, I'm not really cold-hearted. Orvis couldn't help but smile. His bright golden eyes were filled with tenderness and love. With your words, Orvis is satisfied. He seemed to have completely let go of the burden in his heart. He took a step forward and hugged the high priestess who easily affected his thoughts. I feel that time is passing too slowly, high priestess. The Li tribe's actions are too slow, he complained, slightly dissatisfied. Gu Shengyin knew what he wanted to express. He was the only orc who knew that he had already reached an agreement with the Li tribe. He was despising the Li tribe for being too slow. If they could not complete the unification as soon as possible, he would not be able to build an empire as soon as possible. He would also not be able to become her partner as soon as possible. Chapter 733. Don't what? High Priestess? Orvis didn't call Wu Luo. He felt that under such circumstances, calling her High Priestess would make him tremble with excitement. Gu Shengyin forced herself to regain some clarity of mind. She reached out her hand and pressed down on Orvis's large hand that was roaming around her body. Stop, Orvis. Her voice was still a little breathless, but her tone was firm. Orvis hugged her tightly in dissatisfaction, letting her feel his desire clearly. It's uncomfortable, so am I, he said meaningfully. Do you really have the heart to ask me to stop? There was a hint of grievance in his tone. For a man like him to talk to her in such a tone, it was simply against the rules. Gu Shengyin almost couldn't hold on any longer. Fortunately, she still maintained some consciousness and forced herself to calm down. She repeated what she said just now. Stop, Orvis. Orvis looked at her carefully and confirmed that she was really unwilling. Although it was uncomfortable to hold it in, he still obeyed her words and pulled his hand out. However, he didn't let go of Gu Shengyin. He still hugged her tightly and said in a muffled voice, Why? You're clearly enjoying it too. Gu Shengyin's heart warmed up when she heard that. She quickly said, I received news from Vicar. The Li clan has basically unified the tribes on the other side of the river. She will be able to rush over today. Male beasts were simply gifted in that aspect. It was Orvis's first time. Gu Shengyin had no doubt that if she listened to him today, when the Li clan people came to the Owl clan, she, as the high priestess, could only receive them on the bed. Gu Shengyin definitely couldn't let such a thing happen. Orvis reluctantly accepted this explanation, but he still couldn't help but move. His dark golden eyes locked onto Gu Shengyin. Without you, it won't be able to settle down. Gu Shengyin, she accepted her fate and offered to help him solve it with her hands. As for a certain system, it had already automatically entered a dormant state at this time. In the end, Orvis was chased out by Gu Shengyin with a dark face. Gu Shengyin rubbed her sore hands and secretly gritted her teeth. Fortunately, she didn't let this guy succeed. The endurance of the orcs was really too scary. If she really let him go all the way, when the Li clan people came, she probably wouldn't be lying in bed to receive them, but would receive them in a coma. The people of the Owl tribe looked at their chief. Lord Orvis seemed to be in a good mood today. According to what Gu Shengyin said, the Li clan's messenger, led by the current high priest vicar of the Li clan, arrived at the Owl clan tribe in the evening. The Owl tribe did not receive any news. Many orcs showed a very cautious look towards the forced tribe's visit. Vicar turned a blind eye to all of this. Instead, he requested to meet the grand priest of the Owl tribe, Sir Wu Luo. Is our high priestess someone you can meet just because you want to? The Owl tribe's orc was about to speak when he heard his clan leader's deep voice. Lord Wu Luo has ordered us to bring the Li clan's envoy to see her. Vicar's eyes lit up when he heard this voice. Based on her experience with many male beasts, a male beast with such a good voice would definitely have a good appearance. She looked towards the direction of the voice. When she saw Orvis's face clearly, her breathing stopped. Chapter 734. This man seemed to be a natural source of light. As long as he stood there, he could easily steal everyone's attention and announce his presence domineeringly. Vicar felt that she had fallen in love with him at first sight. She could roughly guess the identity of this man. He was the leader of the Owl tribe, the male beast who was called the warrior blessed by the beast god by the other tribes. She subconsciously used her charm and smiled at Orvis. High Priest Vicar from the Li tribe greets Master Orvis. I wonder if Vicar has the honor of being led by Master Orvis to meet Master Wu Luo? What surprised her was that this male beast was completely unaffected by her charm. Orvis only felt that this female beast in front of him gave him a strange feeling. There seemed to be something wrong with her. He said coldly, "Please follow me." This was the first time Vicar's charm was effective on a male beast. This made her feel curious and at the same time, a strong desire to conquer surged in her heart. Only by conquering such a powerful male beast would one be able to obtain great happiness, right? Along the way, Vicar tried her best to gain Orvis's favor. Unfortunately, even the orcs from the Owl tribe beside Orvis couldn't help but look at her infatuatedly. Orvis's expression didn't change at all. Master Wu Luo, the high priest of the Li tribe is here, Orvis said outside the door. Come in, Vicar heard the voice. It was different from the voice that rang in her mind every time. However, this familiar tone made her heart tremble and she put away her frivolous thoughts in front of Orvis. She entered the house. The room was very big but the furnishings inside were very simple. The huge bed with countless layers of precious animal skins took up almost 1/3 of the space in the room. Gu Shengyin sat on a chair on the other side of the room. Master Wu Luo, Vika bowed respectfully to Gu Shengyin. The orcs she brought over today were all her trusted subordinates. Those people had long known that the high priest was here to seek refuge with the Owl tribe, but seeing her so respectful to the high priest of the Owl tribe, they still felt a little strange in their hearts. Everything is done. The Li clan will have no problem, Vicar said. The conversation between the two left the onlookers scratching their heads. Only they knew that the two of them had already discussed everything. Orvis was aware of the situation, and the orcs that Vicar brought over were completely dumbfounded as they watched their lord and the high priest engage in a "I don't understand" conversation. When Vicar was about to leave, he subconsciously glanced at Orvis, who was standing at the side. The other party did not look at him. Instead, he placed all his attention on the Shao clan's high priest who was sitting on the chair. Vicar was very familiar with that look. The beast men of the Li clan also had the same look in their eyes when they looked at him. However, Lord Orvis looked at Lord Wu Luo with an even deeper gaze. The gentleness and affection in his golden eyes were enough to make anyone jealous. Vicar didn't dare to look at him. He lowered his eyes and left. It wasn't until she was out of the door that she let out a long breath. No wonder he turned a blind eye to my goodwill. No wonder my charm technique was completely ineffective on him. It turned out that there was such a female beast in his heart. Chapter 735. If it was any other female beast, Vicar was confident that she could still compete. She never felt that she was inferior to others. However, if that person was the high priest Wu Luo, Vicar felt that she could not be compared to him at all. At best, she was just a beautiful and bright flower in the world. However, the other party was the cold and dreamy moon high up in the sky. There was no comparison at all. She sighed dejectedly. She had fallen out of love before it even started. In the room. After Vicar left, Gu Shengyin glanced at Orvis indifferently. Vicar's eyes are almost glued to your body. Orvis hurriedly said, "My heart will always be with you." Gu Shengyin snorted softly. The night was still the busiest time for the Owl tribe. However, today was more lively than other days. Gu Shengyin appeared on the high platform. She stretched out her hands, and the cane in her hand suddenly rose into the air, emitting a dazzling light. The entire territory of the Owl tribe was illuminated as if it was daytime. All the orcs of the Owl tribe stopped what they were doing and looked at the figure bathed in light with admiration. This was not a technique that a normal orc could have. This person was the high priest of the Owl tribe. She was the guide who led the Owl tribe to this step. All the Owl tribe members could not help but kneel in the direction of the high platform where Gu Shengyin was. The call of the high priest resounded through the sky. Orvis couldn't help but kneel down on one knee. However, unlike the endless worship in the hearts of the others, when he saw Wu Luo in such a state, what he wanted to do the most was to ruthlessly drag him down from his high and mighty altar and pull him into his arms. She was someone else's god, but she was only his Wu Luo. If the people of the Owl tribe only had worship in their hearts, then for the people of the Li tribe who saw Gu Shengyin's ghostly techniques for the first time, they were completely shocked. Was this the power of the high priest of the Owl tribe? How powerful was the shaman energy required to achieve this? Under such circumstances, Gu Shengyin spoke. Her voice seemed to come down from the 9 heavens, clearly ringing in everyone's ears. Today, I want to announce something again. Our allies, the comrades of the Li clan, have arrived at the territory of the Shao clan. Allies? Whether it was the Shao clan or the tribes that were conquered by the Shao clan, they were all shocked when they heard this. When did the Force clan become allies with the Owl clan? Gu Shengyin stretched out his hand and pointed at the shocked Vicar. Vicar was shocked to find that his body floated up uncontrollably. Beast God above. Seeing this scene, all the orcs exclaimed once again. It was simply too inconceivable. Vicar came to the high platform where Gu Shengyin was. Announce it. Gu Shengyin nodded at her. Vicar knew that he had no way out. Moreover, after seeing the techniques of the high priest Wu Luo, he realized that in his heart, he did not feel any resistance toward submitting to such a strong person. She said loudly, "I, Vicar, in the name of the high priest of the Li clan, announce that from today onwards, the Li clan will become a subsidiary tribe of the Owl tribe. There will be no disloyalty." Her voice was transmitted far away through Gu Xingyin's wizard power, causing countless orcs to be shocked. Chapter 736. The orcs of the Owl tribe were also shocked as they looked at the two high priests on the high platform. During the day, they were still vigilant because of the arrival of the messenger of the Li tribe. At night, the other party gave them such a big surprise. The submission of the Li tribe represented more than just the submission of a tribe. It should be known that they had completed the unification of the tribes across the river in the past few years, and the Owl tribe had long been the invisible king of all the tribes on this side of the river. This time, if the Li tribe submitted to the Owl tribe, didn't it mean that there was only one master left on the whole plains? Thinking of a certain possibility, all the Owl tribe members couldn't help but breathe quickly. They remembered the words that the high priest said a long time ago. She received the blessing of the beast god and would lead the orcs of the Owl tribe to become the most powerful warriors and lead the Owl tribe to become the most powerful tribe in the whole continent. Now, it really came true. Their Owl tribe would become the most powerful tribe in the whole orc continent. This night, the whole Owl tribe fell into a carnival. No one was willing to sleep when such good news came out. Vika didn't stay in the Owl tribe for a long time. She had to rush back to the tribe to deal with the aftermath of this incident. Although there wouldn't be too much trouble, Vika knew that there would always be some people who opposed her. Gu Shengyin didn't have the patience to face the Owl tribe when facing Vika. What she wanted was the submission and obedience of the Li tribe. As for other troubles and obstacles, it was Vika's business. She only wanted results. The process was the business of Vika, the leader of the Li tribe. The Owl clan, on the other hand, began to build a majestic and gorgeous imperial city in the most fertile and beautiful place in the entire plain. This was what the high priest said. They would not only be a tribe. Now the Owl tribe had unified the whole plain. They wanted to formally propose a unified kingdom. The orcs' enthusiasm was unprecedentedly high. Not only the Owl tribe, but also some other tribes who had submitted to the Owl tribe had joined the construction team. A kingdom. This was a concept that had never appeared before. When it came from the high priest's mouth, it seemed to open the door to a new world for them. As for why they were so cooperative, Gu Shengyin said that it was all thanks to the non-existent beast deity. Every time she encountered a difficult problem, Gu Shengyin basically adopted two methods. One was force, and the other was faith. Needless to say, the current Owl clan was definitely the most powerful clan in the entire continent. And in terms of faith, who could compare to Gu Shengyin, this fraud? All the tribal leaders received the same oracle on the same night. The Owl clan's unification of the continent was the will of the gods. The orc dynasty that was about to be established would lead the orc continent into a new era. After receiving such an oracle, the orcs no longer dared to have the slightest bit of unwillingness. They were all sincerely convinced by the godly tribe of the Owl tribe. Under the concerted efforts of the dozens of tribes, a magnificent king city was finally built half a year later. At the very center of King City was the magnificent and noble palace of the entire city. The first king of the Orc continent would become its first master. For Orvis, the most exciting thing for him was not that he would be crowned here. Instead, he was going to have the high priestess in his possession here. Chapter 737. On this day, the weather was very good. On the fertile plains, the sky was clear and cloudless. Countless orcs stood on the newly built majestic king city and watched as the handsome orcs walked up the 999 steps to the highest platform in the entire king city. There, the white-robed high priest Wu Luo held a scepter in his hand and smiled as he looked at Orvis, who was walking towards him. Master Wu Luo. He smiled as he looked at the female orc he admired. Gu Shengyin did not behave normally. For the first time, she bowed with the dignity of a high priestess. Your Majesty Orvis. Her bow this time was equivalent to admitting in front of all the orcs that the king's authority was higher than the high priest's. Orvis' eyes were slightly hot. He wanted to stop her and not let her bow. He could not bear to let her suffer. But he could not. He knew that she was doing this on purpose today to establish her authority. He couldn't let her down. He stood there quietly and watched as the female orc who had always been the most honorable bowed to him. After that, Gu Shengyin picked up the crown that she had personally designed. It was pure gold in color and the symbol of the owl tribe was intricately carved on it. It was gorgeous and majestic. Orvis lowered his head and allowed her to put the heavy crown on his head. Long live my king. She bowed to the young and handsome emperor once again. Following her actions, all the orcs below the platform knelt down in unison. Long live the king! Long live the king! Long live the king! Waves of congratulations rang out across the entire Great Plains. Everyone looked at their new king with excitement. A colorful rainbow suddenly appeared in the sky. To the orcs below the platform, it looked like they were surrounding the new king. Orvis, whose face could not be seen clearly, looked like a god. Beast god above. The orcs who had just stood up knelt down again. Such an unusual auspicious sign must be a blessing from the beast god to their king. If what the high priest said was true, their king would lead the newly established orcs into a new era. At this moment, their king suddenly did something that shocked all the orcs. He turned around and held the hand of the high priest who had been standing quietly by the side. Long live the queen! Long live the queen! He shouted loudly, his voice clearly reaching the ears of every orc. Queen! Will the omnipotent high priestess become the queen of their new king? All the beast men were agitated. They followed their king and shouted loudly, "Don't worry! Long live the queen!" Orvis held Gu Shengyin's hand and enjoyed the congratulations and blessings from his subjects. You said before, Wu Luo, that when I become the most honorable and powerful beast man on this continent, you will become my partner. Orvis, who had become a mature man, looked at the high priest whom he had admired since he was a teenager. Gu Shengyin took the initiative to hold his hand. She smiled as happily as he did and said, "Yes, your majesty. I will be with you and watch over this land that we have conquered together and built together." Orvis hugged her and said, "What I want is for you to be with me and enjoy this supreme glory together." He suddenly turned around and said loudly, "The queen and I will be honored together. The king and the queen will be honored together." This was the rule set by the first Orc Emperor. It would also become an iron law that would never change in the future Orc Empire that would rule this continent for thousands of years. All this had nothing to do with Gu Shengyin now. What she was doing now was just holding hands with her lover, her partner, and spending the rest of their lives together. Chapter 738. Guru, do you want to take on the script? The QQ notification on the computer kept flashing, and Gu Shengyin opened it to take a look. She paused for a moment and typed, "Tomorrow, I will go for an audition." The other side quickly replied with a super cute emoticon with a big "yeah" and a few exclamation marks, showing the other side's excitement. Gu Shengyin didn't reply. Instead, she sorted out the plot of this world. The female lead of this world was called Chu Qing. Her family was considered rich. She had 3 brothers, all of whom were very outstanding. After waiting for 3 sons, the Chu family finally had a daughter. Naturally, they spoiled her to the point of being obedient. Fortunately, although Chu Qing was spoiled growing up, she didn't go astray. At most, she could be considered a little arrogant. When she was 17, she came into contact with the online voice acting industry. She was immediately addicted to it. When the Chu family saw that their daughter liked it, they naturally supported her. With the top-of-the-line equipment, coupled with Chu Qing's naturally attractive voice, she quickly became popular in the online voice acting circle in a short period of time. Now, 2 years later, Chu Qing's ID, Chu Qingjiu, became one of the most famous gurus in the online voice acting industry. However, this guru was a top-notch guru with a queen voice. Speaking of this queen voice, one had to talk about Chu Qing's looks. The Chu family's looks were indisputable. Chu Qing's 3 brothers could all walk on the runway. When it came to Chu Qing, she perfectly inherited all the advantages of her parents' looks. She was definitely a top beauty. However, Chu Qing didn't like her looks. Why? It was too exquisite. Her facial features were as if they had been carefully tested and sculpted. It was fine if it was just exquisite, but the Chu family were all tall. They raised her to be a short person who was barely 1.6 meters tall. Strictly speaking, 1.6 meters wasn't considered short. However, the Chu family all had long legs. When Chu Qing was sandwiched in the middle, she looked like a doll. Yes, doll. This was the title that Chu Qing had received the most since she was a child. Those enthusiastic elders, since young, would always praise Chu Qing whenever they saw her. Little Chu Qing is getting prettier. She's even prettier than a Barbie doll. Every time this happened, Chu Qing maintained an obedient smile on the surface, but in her heart, she was laughing. Screw your doll. That's right, this petite and delicate girl's biggest wish was to grow up to be like her mother, a beauty with fair skin and long legs. It was a pity that although she had fair skin and beautiful looks, she did not have a pair of long legs. With her delicate face, even when she was angry, she looked like she was pouting and acting cute. She did not have the slightest resemblance to a queen. At most, she was just a delicate princess with a small temper. Things that couldn't be realized in real life could only be comforted by the internet. Ever since Chu Qing found out that her voice was excellent and could imitate all kinds of deep and seductive female voices, Chu Qing never returned from the online voice acting industry. She was a guru and had many fans in the online voice acting industry. Logically speaking, she should be doing well. Unfortunately, trouble came looking for her. Chapter 739. This matter could be traced back to a web drama that Chu Qing took on half a year ago. It was a sadistic web drama about love. It was a love story about the daughter of a general, Lu Chongfeng, and the crown prince, Ji Mingde. After several misunderstandings, they finally got together. That novel was said to be very popular in the web novel industry and had a large number of fans in the online voice acting circle. At that time, Chu Qing was working with another voice acting god, Chunhua Chosher. In this web drama, Chu Qing displayed her pinnacle skills. Lu Chongfeng, who was voiced by her, became one of the most classic voice acting characters judged by the fans. Due to the popularity of this web drama, Chu Qingjiu and Chunhua Chosher became official voices in the online voice acting circle. In fact, there were many such official matches. It wasn't a big deal originally. Chu Qing admitted that she had worked with Chunhua and Chosher a few times, and they could be considered good friends. The two even occasionally joked with each other on Weibo. Hence, something terrible happened. A very famous club in the online voice acting circle, Mountain River Scroll, took on a web drama. The Mountain River Scroll Club originally had many famous voice acting gods. But this time, it was said that they wanted to make this Xianxia web drama called Peach Blossom Forest into a classic. Naturally, they prepared to send out their strongest lineup. And Chu Qingjiu, who had the strongest female voice, was naturally within their scope of consideration. In Peach Blossom Forest, the #1 female war god, Huang Tian, who dared to love and hate. In the end, in order to suppress the Demon King, she willingly turned into a demon sealing chain. And in the eyes of the Mountain River Scroll Club, the most suitable voice actor for this role was undoubtedly Chu Qingjiu. This was a very attractive role, so Chu Qing didn't reject it. Then there was the male lead, the Crown Prince of Heaven, Cloudflow. Originally, Mountain River Scroll wanted their own god, Drunken Dusk, to act. But for some reason, Drunken Dusk couldn't come. In the end, Mountain River Scroll could only target someone else. Chunhua Chosher was one of their targets. But Chunhua Chosher also brought someone else. That person's ID was Liangzi Loves Eating Buns. It was said that she was a newcomer in the ID world. She had a coy voice that straight men loved. The moment she entered the group, she became active in all sorts of ways. She greeted everyone in the group, including the post-production artists. She didn't know if it was intentional or not, but she left out Chu Qingjiu. Chu Qing was also spoiled since she was young. How could she not have any resentment towards this kind of thing? It was only because of Chunhua and Qiushi's face that she didn't bicker with this kind of newcomer. When she heard that she was going to audition for the female lead, Celestial in the Clouds, she didn't say anything. Maybe this girl was like her and could change her voice during dubbing? However, during the audition, everyone was not surprised to hear her coquettish voice. This was the celestial being in the clouds who had no desires and no desires. Chu Qing couldn't help but say, during the audition, pay attention to whether the role suits you or not. Her words might not sound nice, but they were reasonable. Familiarizing oneself with the plot was the duty of a qualified voice actor. However, she did not expect that the person opposite her would explode immediately after she said such a sentence. That Liangzi loves eating buns questioned Chu Qing in front of everyone. Was she jealous because she saw her together with Chunhua Qiushi? Was that why she was targeting her? At that time, Chu Qing's mood was similar to eating a fly. She couldn't hold it in and started tearing at her. Chapter 740. Initially, Chu Qing didn't take this matter to heart. She didn't mind that Chunhua and Qiushi were actually helping Liangzi Loves Buns on the surface. After all, they were people she met online, and she didn't put in much effort. But after she went offline that day, she didn't log into her QQ and Weibo account for several days because of the school exams. When she was done with her work in real life, she realized that the circle had exploded. It turned out that after she went offline a few days ago, Liangzi Loves Steamed Bun had exposed the whole thing in an accusatory tone. It involved two almighties, and it might even be a threesome. The gossipy hearts of the onlookers stirred, and they couldn't help but click on it out of curiosity. Chu Qingjiu's image was that of a vicious woman who was using her power to avenge a personal grudge out of jealousy. But for the past 2 years, Chu Qingjiu's reputation in the circle wasn't bad. She didn't join any clubs, didn't do live streams, and didn't post photos. Other than taking on dramas, she kept a low profile. Her cold personality unexpectedly won the favor of many people. Many fans expressed their disbelief that Great Lord Qingjiu was such a person. They all tagged Chu Qingjiu under Liangzi Loves Buns Weibo account. But after several days, Liangzi Loves Buns kept complaining, while Chu Qing didn't do anything. Many passers-by started to believe Liangzi Loves Bun's words. If she didn't have a guilty conscience, why didn't she come out to explain after so long? In the end, what made the fans change sides was Chunhua and Qiushi's comments. They didn't directly state which side they were on, but they posted on their Weibo account, Qingjiu sometimes speaks without thinking and hurts others. This indirectly proved Liangzi Loves Bun's words. There were quite a number of people who knew the truth. Some of them stood up for Chu Qingjiu to refute the rumors, but others said they were purposely trying to defend Chu Qingjiu. Some even mocked them, saying that Chu Qingjiu was the one who saw the bad situation and that it was easy for her to hide. Yet, these fools were still speaking up for her. In any case, when Chu Qingjiu went online and saw the one-sided comments, she was furious. Since young, she could get whatever she wanted. When had she ever been schemed against like this? Unlike Liangzi Loves to Eat Buns, her approach was much simpler and more violent. She directly borrowed a hacker from her elder brother's company and easily hacked into Chunhua and Qiushi's computers. She exposed their private chat records, as well as the records of Liangzi Likes to Eat Buns hiring Internet Water Army to slander her, and so on. Even after doing all this, the girl was still not satisfied. She left a long emotional comment under the voice actor's Weibo account, stating that the industry was cold and warm, that the fans couldn't tell right from wrong, and that she was bitterly disappointed. In the end, she announced that she was leaving the industry, and that the Weibo account and the ID Chu Qingjiu would no longer be used. She left the online voice acting industry. Based on this alone, she probably didn't lose anything, nor did she lose. But how could she just give up on the industry that she had wholeheartedly devoted 2 years to? After a period of decadence, Chu Qing, who planned to go on a trip to relax, climbed the famous dangerous peak. She was deep in thought and her hand slipped. Unfortunately, the safety equipment on her body malfunctioned and she fell from the 1,000-meter-high cliff. Chapter 741. Gu Shangyin came to Chu Qing, not because she had died, but because the main plot of this world was the online voice acting industry. Since it was the main plot of the online voice acting industry, her withdrawal from the industry was equivalent to her losing her role as the main character. Originally, she had a high chance of winning the most famous King of the Voice Acting of the Year award in this industry. However, after she announced her retirement from the industry, there was no one to fill the role of the female lead. That was why Gu Shangyin came to this world. She needed to take Chu Qing's place in the online voice acting industry and win the title of King of the Voice Acting, becoming one of the queens of the online voice acting industry. Gu Shangyin took a closer look at the QQ message she had just received and realized that the audition she agreed to was for Huang Tian in Peach Blossom Forest. That meant that Liang Zi Loves to Eat Buns would appear in her world tomorrow? Just then, her QQ rang again. Gu Shangyin opened the chat window and saw the words Chunhua Chosha appear on the chat window. Qingjiu, are you going to audition for Peach Blossom Forest tomorrow? Gu Shangyin ignored him. The other party probably thought that she wasn't around for the time being, so he sent another message. Tomorrow, I'll be bringing a new bee for the audition. She's going to audition for the main character, Celestial Cloud. There's no conflict with you. Take care of her then. Gu Shangyin deleted the chat window. What a joke. What did Chunhua Chosha mean by that? What did he mean by there was no conflict with her audition role, so she didn't have to worry? If she was going to audition for the same role as her, would she mess with her in private? She removed her earphones angrily, preparing to go out and have a good meal to comfort herself. Chu Qing was in her second year of university, and the university she attended was a famous one in the country. The school was famous for being rich. Not to mention other things, just the school dormitory alone was enough to attract the envy and jealousy of many students who attended the same university. As the daughter of a rich family, Chu Qing naturally lived in the best two-person apartment in the school. The apartment was a large 2-bedroom apartment, and the 2 rooms provided enough private space. She walked out of the room and saw her roommate, Su Jin, hugging her laptop and watching a movie on the sofa. She seemed to like the sofa here very much. Every time Gu Shangyin saw her free time, she would have a lot of snacks by her side, lying on the sofa and eating while playing games or watching movies. Do you need me to bring you something? Gu Shangyin asked out of habit. Momo finally raised her head. She was a girl with a gentle appearance, but Gu Shangyin knew that her nature was the complete opposite of her appearance. Ah. I love you. I want the braised chicken and the caramel macchiato from the dessert shop opposite the school. Shen Tong Express has 2 parcels. Thank you. She finished speaking in one breath and buried herself back into the sofa. Gu Shangyin resigned to her fate and went downstairs. One of the benefits of being near the school was that there was a lot of good food to eat. The market was big, and so was the competition. Basically, those with bad taste would not be able to survive in such a place. According to Chu Qing's memory, Gu Shangyin chose a restaurant. It was not the peak meal time, so the food she ordered was quickly served. When Gu Shangyin was about to eat, she thought for a moment, took a picture with her phone, and uploaded it to Chu Qingjiu Weibo. Eating dinner in advance, picture, picture, picture. Behind her, a boy's phone vibrated. He took out his phone, and when he saw the content, he paused. He then looked around the restaurant, and his gaze locked onto Gu Shangyin, who was fiddling with her phone. He was surprised for a moment, and then a smile appeared on his face. Chapter 742. If it was in the past, Chu Qing would never do such a thing. She would never interact with her fans on the microphone or Weibo. In private, it was rumored that Qingjiu was as aloof as her voice. Gu Shengyin decided to change her strategy. As someone in the industry, the support of her fans was essential. For a person who had never shared his life, the effect was quite amazing. Her post was reposted many times in a short period of time. Many fans were so touched that they left comments below, saying that they didn't expect to see Qingjiu post a non-online Weibo post in their lifetime. What really made the fan circle explode was that not long after Qingjiu posted her Weibo post, someone tagged her. Drunken Dusk. Heavens! Since when did Qingjiu and Huang Hun have such a good relationship? Qingjiu Drunken Dusk. I seem to smell adultery. Qingjiu Drunken Dusk. I wouldn't have known if I didn't look. But after taking a closer look, their IDs are clearly of the same style. Upstairs, that's the truth. Such a huge CP, how could I have been so blind that I couldn't tell? Same goes for blind, the strongest attack voice and the strongest female attack voice. This couple is so compatible. Gu Shengyin was called out by a series of mentions. She had started eating after posting her Weibo post, but she didn't expect her phone to vibrate non-stop. The moment she opened it, she got a fright. Drunken Dusk. Qingjiu, looks like it tastes good, smile. Smile. Gu Shengyin's hand that was swiping on the screen paused. Drunken Dusk? He was one of the top voice actors in Shanhe Volume. Among the male voice actors, his popularity could be considered top-notch. Drunk Dusk was very popular in various circles. Not only did he take on romance dramas, he would even take on doujinshi dramas and slash dramas. Because of his gorgeous and deep voice, it was enough to make one's ears pregnant, and he was praised by his fans as the strongest voice. This god style was similar to Chu Qing's. He never exposed his photos or his real life. It was just that he would occasionally interact with his fans through voice chat and had a large number of die-hard fans. Was he close to her? Gu Shengyin furrowed her brows as she flipped through her memories. She did not have any recollection of Chu Qing having any contact with Drunk Dusk. She thought about it for a moment and felt that Drunk Dusk might have just happened to see her Weibo post and commented on it in passing. Itsu Qingjiu, Drunken Dusk, the taste is indeed not bad. Then, her phone rang again. Drunken Dusk replied almost immediately. Drunken Dusk, eating happily. Smile, Itsu Qingjiu. The fans below were in an uproar again. Lad, you're not bad. Is Lord Qingjiu trying to act cute with that tone? Itsu Qingjiu, a little yellow chick. I can hear a strong sense of indulgence from Master Dusk's tone. Tell me it's not an illusion, Drunken Dusk. Upstairs is very handsome. It's not your illusion, Sake Drunken Dusk, little yellow chick. Thank you. You're very handsome too. Dreaming of Tang Dynasty. What did I see? Dusk. When did you hook up with Qingjiu Drunken Dusk? I want to eat meat. I caught a dream Dada alive. Speaking of which, Dada doesn't know the inside story. Dream Dada Tang. Dreaming of Tang Dynasty. I don't know. Dusk is usually very tight-lipped. In the end, this matter had completely gone off topic. No one cared about Gu Shengyin's bowl of delicious food. Instead, they were all guessing the relationship between Itsu Qingjiu and Drunk Dusk. Chapter 743. A certain man looked at Gu Shengyin, who had a conflicted look on her face, and revealed a smile. It was really very surprising. Who would have thought that Itsu Qingjiu, who was known as the strongest queen's voice, was actually such a petite and adorable girl in real life? Actually, Gu Shengyin only felt conflicted for a moment before she felt relieved. Although the process was a little unexpected, at least the outcome was right. The name Itsu Qingjiu made her presence known in the circle, didn't she? Moreover, it wasn't a bad thing to create a new couple. Otherwise, Chunhua and Chosha would really think they were some big shot. After Gu Shengyin finished her meal, she shouted, "Waiter, bill." Her voice was crisp and sweet, without the domineering female voice in the audition. The man glanced at her thoughtfully and lowered his head before Gu Shengyin turned around to look at him. After Gu Shengyin left, his phone suddenly rang. Dream of Tang Dynasty. Huang Hun, tell me the truth. What's your relationship with Itsu Qingjiu? The man, drunken Huang Hun, softly sent a line of words. Nothing at all. Dream of Tang Dynasty. Nothing at all? Nothing at all? The two of you chatted so well on Weibo? Drunken Huang Hun couldn't help but laugh. Chatted so well. He seemed to have only sent 2 sentences from start to end, right? Itsu Qingjiu even replied to him with 1 sentence. What were these people imagining in their heads? Dream of Tang Dynasty sent another message. Huang Han, if you're really close to Great Qingjiu, consider pulling her into our club. It's rare to see a wild god like her nowadays. Drunken Huang Huan's fingers paused for a moment. He originally wanted to say that he wasn't close to her, but thinking of her conflicted look, she didn't seem to be as cold as the outside world thought. I'll try, he replied. Huang Han, what haven't you succeeded in? I'll wait for your good news. Drunken Huang Han gently closed his phone, paid the bill, and walked out. Gu Shengyin bought dinner for her roommate, Hua Hua, and also carried bags of things back. Senior Chu Qing. Someone called out to her from afar. Gu Shengyin turned around and saw a tall, sunny-looking boy running over. Gu Shengyin knew this guy. He was a freshman in the computer science department and could be considered a top student in the department. Since the first time he saw Chu Qing, it was said that it was love at first sight. After all his confessions were rejected, he still did not give up and tried different ways to appear by her side. Senior sister, there are so many things. Do you want me to help you carry them? He was ready to take the bags from Gu Shengyin's hands. Gu Shengyin subconsciously took a step back. She raised her head and looked at him. No need, Junior. I'll be at the dormitory building soon. She was right. They were about to arrive at this place. The junior's face darkened. He smiled and said, Senior, are you free tomorrow? I bought 2 movie tickets. Gu Shengyin said blandly, I don't like to watch movies. Junior, save them for girls who like to watch movies. After saying that, she turned around and left without any reluctance, leaving the boys staring at her back view in a daze. If she really didn't like this kind of thing, then she shouldn't give him any hint that he still had a chance. Chapter 744. As soon as Gu Shengyin entered the room with bags of things, she heard her roommate's annoyed cry, Damn it, this was such a good opportunity, but we were wiped out. She calmly closed the door and put the things on the sofa beside her. The smell of the braised chicken instantly summoned a certain gaming addict from her fantasy world. Feng Chen looked at Gu Shengyin with a touched face. Qing Qing, if I were a man, I would marry you. Why are you so virtuous? Gu Shengyin laughed. I don't want to serve you every day. Feng Chen's face fell and she looked sad. You actually dislike me. However, she quickly recovered and looked at Gu Shengyin's face. She said with a smile, If I were a man and had a doll-like girlfriend like you, I would definitely dote on you. How would I be willing to let you do manual labor? No matter how she looked at it, her roommate was a delicate little princess who should be carefully taken care of. Chu Qing hated it when others talked about her appearance. It always reminded her of her long legs and the aura of a queen. Her face turned cold. Feng Chen, if you talk about this again, I'm going to get angry. Feng Chen knew some of her habits and quickly raised her hands. Your Majesty, I was wrong. You are the most aggressive. You are the most domineering sister with the strongest aura. Gu Shengyin rolled her eyes and said, I'm going to wash up and sleep. Remember to answer my class tomorrow morning. In the morning, she had an appointment with Mountain River Scroll for an audition. It happened to be an extremely boring elective class. Gu Shengyin was prepared to skip class without any psychological burden. Feng Chen looked enviously at her roommate who could skip class without any scruples. Her parents were professors in this school and they knew most of the teachers in the university. She was definitely the focus of attention. If she dared to skip class, the consequences would be too great. She didn't dare to think about it. The next day, when Gu Shengyin woke up, it was already 9 o'clock in the morning. The audition time with Mountain River Volumes was 10 o'clock in the morning. She slowly got out of bed and made herself a cup of honey tea. After washing up, she finally turned on the computer and entered a private room. There were already quite a number of people inside. "Welcome, Qingjiu," a cheerful and crisp voice rang out. Gu Shengyin didn't even need to look at the name to know who this voice belonged to. Dream of Tang Dynasty, focused youth for 100 years. Of course, he was also famous in the romance circle for being a good listener. "Thank you." Gu Shengyin typed a line of words. Chu Jiu's habit was to not turn on the microphone unless it was during an audition or recording. Everyone knew about this habit of hers, so they didn't think much of it. Gu Shengyin habitually glanced at the screen and unexpectedly found a familiar name. Drunken Dusk. She remembered that Drunken Dusk wasn't supposed to come for the audition. Could it be that something happened that caused him to deviate from his original plan? But this was a good thing for Gu Shengyin. Drunken Dusk was the great god of Mountain River Volumes. With him around, Prince Lu Yun's character, Mountain River Volumes, definitely wouldn't fall into the hands of an outsider. Chunhua and Chosher, this time he didn't have to do anything. But not long after, Chunhua and Chosher's IDs appeared in the room. Chunhua and Chosher, "Hello, everyone." Liangzi loves buns, "Hello, everyone." A few people in Mountain River Volumes replied to the two of them. Gu Shengyin remained silent. Just then, her private chat box started to flash. "Chunhua and Chosher, Qingjiu, why didn't you reply to my QQ message yesterday? Did you not see it? I brought a newbie here today to audition. Take care of her later." Chapter 745. His tone was completely matter-of-fact. Gu Shengyin was so angry that she wanted to laugh. What was her relationship with Chunhua and Chosher? They were merely acquaintances whom she got along well with. Where did he get such confidence from? Was she that important? She pressed both hands on the keyboard and started typing. "I'm only here for the audition. The candidates will be decided by the Mountain River Scroll." She felt that she was being rather tactful with her words. But Chunhua and Chosher were still unhappy. "Qingjiu, why did you become like this? Liangzi's character doesn't conflict with yours, so it won't affect your interests. She just wants you to put in a few good words for her." Gu Shengyin right-clicked and saw an option to block her. Without hesitation, she chose to block her. Since they knew each other online, so be it if she wanted to be willful. In this public room, Liangzi started to repeat the scene from the original plot. "Liangzi, cute. Cute. Hello Huang Hun, I especially like your voice, Liangzi, cute. Cute. Hello Dream Huang Hun. Liangzi, cute. Cute. Hello Dance Huang Hun, I'm your fan." She followed the order of their IDs in the room and greeted them one by one on the public screen, expressing her liking for them. But she left out Qingjiu, who was in the middle. Only Liangzi loves eating buns comments were left on the screen. Everyone was probably feeling awkward. Gu Shengyin looked at Liangzi loves eating bun as though she was a clown. Chunhua and Chosher, who claimed to be her good friends, were now invisible. But at this moment, a message suddenly appeared on the public screen that Liangzi loves eating bun was spamming. "Drunken Dusk. Eh? Qingjiu is here? I like your voice a lot." Gu Shengyin paused. Was he trying to help her out? The moment Drunken Dusk spoke, everyone in the room seemed to have realized what was going on and started teasing to liven up the atmosphere. "Dream Huang Hun, Dusk, you said there's nothing fishy going on between you and Qingjiu. The moment you came out, you only saw Qingjiu. Alright, I should confess to you every day. Almighty Qingjiu, I like you too. Post-production, Echo. Boss Qingjiu, I'm your fan. Your Lu Chongfeng is too domineering. I nearly turned gay because of you. Artist Cha Cha, Boss Qingjiu." The atmosphere created by Liangzi loves to eat buns was completely destroyed. Everyone began to circle around the sake, as if no one had seen the embarrassing scene. Below the screen, in a small rented apartment, a girl with heavy makeup on her face gritted her teeth. She didn't look old, but the heavy makeup on her face made her look much older than her actual age. So what if you're a guru? Don't Chunhua and Choshi like someone like me? She stared at the name Chu Qingjiu on the screen, feeling resentful. Actually, she wasn't familiar with Yu Qingjiu. It was just that when she first entered the online voice acting industry, she hooked up with the gurus Chunhua and Choshi. But this Chunhua and Choshi had an official couple. That Yu Qingjiu was said to be a guru in this industry. She happened to hear from Chunhua and Choshi that Yu Qingjiu was going to participate in the audition for this drama. Hence, she specially pestered him to bring her along. She wanted to ruthlessly embarrass Yu Qingjiu. Chapter 746. Unfortunately, Drunken Dusk had interfered. What she had just done was a joke. Gu Shengyin found Drunken Dusk and sent him a smiley face. "Thank you." The reply came quickly. "You're welcome. I've always liked your voice." Almost everyone had arrived, and the auditions began. The auditions were mainly for the important roles. The auditions for the supporting roles were recorded by the voice actors and sent to the club for selection. Originally, as a nobody, Liang Zi Loves Buns was not qualified to enter the audition room. However, Chunhua and Choshi had brought her in, and Mountain River Scroll did not want to disappoint them. According to the role, the male lead, Prince Flowing Cloud, had already been decided. Drunken Dusk had only said a few lines symbolically and did not express any problems. It was the female lead, Celestial Cloud's turn. Celestial Cloud's character was a cold and arrogant immortal. This voice was not easy to express, and Mountain River Scroll had even invited several experts to audition. After the auditions, Mountain River Scroll's president, Mountain River Scroll, was a little dissatisfied. There was no doubt that these experts' performances were above average. Whether it was their emotions or their tone, they were all excellent. If it was an ordinary web drama, almost any one of them would be fine. However, Mountain River Scroll wanted to make Peach Blossom Forest into a classic web drama. As one of the key characters in the series, the voice actors responsible for Celestial Cloud's voice were especially important. He felt that their performance was still lacking something. It was Liang Zi Loves Bun's turn. Gu Shengyin put down the honey tea in her hand and quietly listened to her performance. As soon as she opened her mouth, Gu Shengyin felt lucky and put down the tea in her hand. This was the cold and emotionless Celestial Cloud? Wasn't this a little girl who asked her brother for candy? After Liang Zi Loves Buns finished, the room fell into an awkward silence. Gu Shengyin did not know where this person got the confidence to audition for this role. She sat quietly and did not speak. This time, she did not want to be the bad guy. She had prepared an even bigger gift for her. Director Zhuang Chuang said, "I think Liang Zi Loves Buns is not suitable for this role." Her words were not tactful, but they were not excessive either. Unfortunately, Liang Zi Loves Steamed Buns was a person who felt very good about herself. She turned on her microphone and asked, "Why? What did I do wrong? My Mandarin is not standard? Or is there something wrong with my feelings?" Gu Shengyin felt that at this moment, her heart should be very stifled. As a matter of fact, not only was his heart stifled, he even felt as if 10,000 divine beasts were roaring in his heart. What was wrong with it? "Sister, have you read this novel before? If you've really read it, do you have the nerve to ask such a question?" Who was Celestial Being in the clouds? If you really want me to say it, you don't have any position at all. At this moment, Chunhua and Choshi also spoke up. "Zhangcha, Liang Zi is a newbie in this circle. She doesn't know anything. You should talk to her. I think she's quite talented." Zhu Cha almost cursed out loud. That newcomer didn't know anything. You, Chunhua Choshi, have been in the circle for so long and you still don't know? How do you want me to explain this situation to you? Chunhua and Choshi's behavior of pretending to be ignorant and playing the good guy for others was really disgusting. Chapter 747. Since Master Chunhua and Master Chosher are so enthusiastic, why don't you explain it to Miss Liangzi? Chu Wuyo asked. As for Miss Liangzi, I only have one suggestion. Please read the novel The Peach Blossom Forest from beginning to end. Gu Shengyin laughed off the screen. Master Chosher used to be a voice actor as well, but she later switched to a behind-the-scenes role. However, her reputation for being outspoken was still circulating in the circle. Chunhua and Chosher were somewhat embarrassed. They said in a low voice, "Everyone here today is a veteran in the voice acting circle. What's the point of bullying a newcomer like Liangzi?" Everyone was scolded by this sentence. Bullying a newcomer? They were not going to take the blame. Dream of Tang turned on the mic and mocked, "Master Chunhua and Master Chosher, I don't understand? When did we say anything about bullying a newcomer? What's wrong with Master Chosher's words? You don't even know what kind of character Celestial in the Clouds is, yet you rashly came to audition. If you're not suitable, then you're not suitable." Chunhua and Chosher were somewhat speechless. Mountain River Scroll's Peach Blossom Forest this time was very famous, and the promotion was very good. After Liangzi saw it, she kept pestering him to come and try it out. He had told Liangzi to prepare beforehand. But looking at her now, Liangzi clearly did not take his words to heart. But at this time, as a man, he could not admit defeat. Moreover, Liangzi had been privately chatting with him, asking him to speak up for her. As I said, Liangzi is a newcomer. If Master Chosher thinks she's not suitable, you can talk it out. There's no problem in giving her some pointers, right? Gu Shengyin calmly typed a line of words. "So, I'm a newcomer. I'm the weakest. You have to tolerate and love me. Even if I'm wrong, it's normal. You're wrong to criticize me, right?" Pfft. Dream of Tang did not turn off the mic. Laughter rang out in everyone's ears. Then it was quiet again. Perhaps Dream of Tang had discovered this and turned off the mic. Drunk Dusk looked at Gu Shengyin's words and couldn't help but laugh. It was really her sharp style. Gu Shengyin knew that in this situation, it was best for her to remain silent. But looking at these two shameless people, she couldn't help it. Moreover, there were so many people watching this time. She had even prepared a recording and screenshot beforehand. She wasn't afraid that they would distort the truth. Seeing Gu Shengyin speak, Liangzi Love's steamed buns seemed to have found a target to vent her anger on. "Qingjiu, why are you speaking in such a strange tone?" "I know. Are you jealous that Chunhua and Chosher personally brought me here? You just don't want me to play this role properly. Are you happy now? Why do you have such a dark mind?" Gu Shengyin was speechless. "What are you thinking, miss? Overthinking is overthinking, Qingjiu?" She thought for a moment and typed a line of words, "Who are you? In other words, who do you think you are? Is it worth my time to deal with you?" Liangzi Love's steamed bun trembled with anger when she saw the words. What does this song of sake mean? Is she looking down on me? The other people watching couldn't help but laugh out loud. The Mountain River Scroll Club had its own group. Dream of Tang couldn't help but take a screenshot and send it to the group. He sighed. "This is the first time I've seen Master Qingjiu's ability to anger people to death." Chapter 748. Through these few words, Drunken Dusk seemed to be able to see an expressionless girl typing infuriatingly in front of the computer. But when he thought of that face he saw in the restaurant yesterday, he couldn't bring himself to believe it. With that face, even if it was expressionless, it looked more like she was pouting and trying to act cute, right? At that moment, a new round started in the room. Chunhua and Chosher said, "Qingjiu, you're a veteran in the industry. Although you're experienced, you shouldn't bully newbies." Gu Shengyin felt that this person was sick. And that Liangzi Bun, there was really something wrong with his brain. She couldn't communicate with them at all. No matter what, they could always twist her into a pure and unpretentious little white lotus flower. Qingjiu said, "Imagining things is an illness. It has to be treated. If you have persecutory delusions, please don't walk around. The whole world will be your enemy. Sensing that Gu Shengyin couldn't take it anymore, Cup of Tea couldn't take it anymore either. He directly moved the two of them out of the room. After the two of them left, Dream of Tang Tang sent Gu Shengyin a thumbs up emoji. Everyone felt that the atmosphere had become much more relaxed. Cup of Tea continued, everyone, don't let what happened just now affect your mood. Let's continue with the audition. There were only 2 voice actors left who came to audition for the female lead, Immortal in the Clouds. After the audition, Mountains and Rivers in the Sleeves and Cup of Tea both frowned. It still didn't work. They felt like something was missing. Their expectations were too high this time. All the voices were perfect, and they didn't want to leave behind any regrets. After a while, Cup of Tea said, let's try the supporting roles first. A magnetic and alluring voice rang out in the room. Can I try Immortal in the Clouds? This voice lacked the sweetness of an ordinary woman, but it had a hint of femininity and gentleness. When one heard it, one couldn't help but shudder. It was too torturous. As if there was a small hook gently scratching your eardrum, you couldn't help but want to continue listening. What an aggressive female voice. Once this voice came out, everyone in the room knew who it was. Other than Icon Qingjiu, who was known as the top female voice, who else could have such a voice that could seduce girls in minutes? Zhu Cha, however, was a little hesitant. There was nothing to say about the tone of the song. It was very unique and very recognizable. However, this style was completely different from Celestial Amidst the Clouds. Zhan Cha didn't believe that Itsu Qingjiu, who had been in the industry for so many years, didn't know about this. Then, did she have some special skills? Gu Shengyin knew what she was worried about. She cleared her throat and said, can I try the Immortal in the Clouds in a cup of tea? This time, the sound that rang in everyone's ears was as cold as jade colliding with each other, but it was also as cold as the clear spring water on a snowy mountain. It was as if there was not a trace of smoke or fire in it. Zhu Cha immediately looked towards the person who spoke in the room. Qingjiu's ID was slowly flashing. The person who spoke just now was Qingjiu? A song of sake could actually change the style? After the shock, ecstasy surged in Zhu Cha's heart. What was clear and cold, lonely and proud? It was too similar. That voice just now was the perfect representation of Immortal in the Clouds. Chapter 749. After a while, everyone in the room became silent for a moment. Then, Dream of Tang's crisp voice sounded in everyone's ears. Oh my God, was that Master Qingjiu? This voice, I feel like kneeling down. Gu Shengyin typed a line of words. I just want to try out a new voice. With Chu Qing's body, other than her fair skin and exquisite looks, the thing that made people envious the most was her good voice. But her original voice was that of a sweet and crisp little girl's, and she had never liked it. She wanted to enter the online voice acting industry because she discovered that she had the skill to change her voice. After countless attempts, she finally chose a domineering female voice as her spokesperson in the online voice acting industry. This girl had always believed that her appearance was because she had failed to live up to expectations when she was in her mother's womb and did not absorb more nutrients. However, her nature was still that of a domineering queen with 1.2 long legs. Hence, she had never revealed this powerful talent in front of others. However, when it came to Gu Shengyin, her thoughts were completely different. Putting aside the fact that she didn't feel anything wrong with Chu Qing's body, if she wanted to advance in the online voice acting industry, it would be a waste if she didn't make use of such a good voice. Peach Blossom Forest was an excellent opportunity. With such a popular sadomasochistic novel, and the team behind Mountain River Volume being one of the top teams in the industry, Gu Shengyin felt that she could make good use of this opportunity. If Huang Tian alone wasn't enough, what if there was another Celestial in the Clouds? Gu Shengyin randomly selected a dialogue from Celestial Amidst the Clouds for Gu Shengyin to try. This kind of dialogue wasn't difficult for her at all. Mountain River Volume and Mountain River Volume were so excited that they couldn't speak. They were incomparably glad that they didn't lower their expectations because it was difficult to find a candidate. Otherwise, how could they find such a perfect celestial in the clouds? Just like that, it was decided that Song Qingjiu would be in charge of celestial in the clouds. At the same time, Gu Xingyin's QQ account for the online voice acting industry started flashing. A friend request popped up. Drunk Dusk has sent you a friend request. Do you accept? Gu Xingyin clicked accept. A dialog box popped up. Drunken Dusk. Say hello, I hope we have a pleasant cooperation. Ichinoku Qingjiu. Happy working with you. The audition was not over yet. Gu Xingyin's computer was still connected. Then, a private message came in the time it took to brew a cup of tea. Qingjiu, are you there? If you're paired with Celestial in the clouds, then what about the original Huang Tian character? Of course. I can Qingjiu, I can take on 2 roles, no problem. Tea time. Alright, thanks for your hard work. The next moment, Gu Xingyin's QQ flashed again. Drunken Dusk. I'll add you to the Peach Blossom Forest group. Soon, a message popped up. Drunken Dusk has invited you to join the Peach Blossom Forest official matchmaking group. Do you accept the application? Gu Xingyin agreed. Drunken Dusk, Prince Lu Yun. Welcome, Dream of the Tang Dynasty. Welcome, Post-Production, Huiyin. Welcome, Lord Qingjiu. Artist, Cha Cha. Welcome, Guru. Icon Qingjiu, Celestial in the Clouds. Thank you, everyone. Tea time, Director. Qingjiu has already changed the name card? Icon Qingjiu, Celestial in the Clouds. I saw everyone's format. Tea time, Director. Tang, quickly go and change the name card. Dreaming of the great Tang Ling Yinzi. I got it. Don't call me Tang. Gu Xingyin looked at this group of gurus who were unapproachable in front of outsiders. They seemed different from what she had imagined. Chapter 750. Cha Cha, Qingjiu and Dusk, the 2 main actors, go find a room to rehearse your lines and get a feel for it. We will start recording in about a week. Gu Xingyin was dragged to a private room by Drunken Dusk. Drunken Dusk. I chose a part. Take a look and we'll rehearse this part. Is that okay? Gu Xingyin received the file she sent. It was the part where Celestial in the Clouds jumped into the reincarnation pool to leave Crown Prince Lu Yun. This part of the dubbing required a lot of emotional tension between the male and female leads. It could be said that it was the most intense part of the story. What do you want me to do? When can you really focus on me? Your Highness, the people in the 3 realms are what you should see and pay attention to. The woman with black hair looked at the sea of clouds in front of her and said faintly, I don't want the people in the 3 realms. I only want you, Celestial in the Clouds. The handsome man's eyes were full of hostility. Celestial in the Clouds will only hide in the sea of clouds. The honor of being the mother of all celestial beings doesn't suit me. If I can't get Celestial in the Clouds, what's the use of the sea of clouds in the 3 realms? Finally, after rehearsing this part, Gu Xingyin broke away from the mysterious atmosphere. She let out a long sigh of relief. She realized that dubbing was indeed a very exhausting thing. A dialogue box flashed on the screen. Drunken Dusk. How do you feel? Gu Xingyin replied, I'm fine. Drunken Dusk. I recorded the dubbing just now. I want to send it to Cha Cha. What do you think? Qingjiu, I'm fine with it. Gu Xingyin remembered that she had a physical education class in the afternoon. After saying a few words to Drunken Dusk, she left. Looking at the time, it was 1:30. She could change her clothes and get ready to go out. Pushing open the door, Gu Xingyin saw a certain someone sitting on the sofa watching a movie on the computer. Cha Cha, get ready to go to class. Cha Cha heard this and wailed, I really don't want to go. Physical education was like a curse to weak girls like them. Especially when they were selecting classes back then, one of them was gaming all night, while the other was doing voice acting. Neither of them managed to grab an easy class. When they finally logged in, they were only left with directional cross-country. That teacher was famous for being a pervert. Other people's PE classes were just relaxing and playing ball games for fun. But they had to run every time. Furthermore, it was at least 1,200 meters. Was this something a normal student could endure? The worst thing was that the teacher also knew that he was not very popular. If he was not strict, the truancy rate would be quite low. Therefore, attendance was required for every class. Whoever was absent would have to retake the class next semester. If he didn't want to attend other classes, there was another way, which was to find someone to substitute for him. However, as soon as the substitute students heard that it was Teacher XX's orienteering class, they refused in horror. They just wanted to earn some pocket money. There was no need to torture themselves for it. Gu Xingyin heartlessly took away her laptop and warned, "Don't get any ideas. Think about the consequences of skipping class. Think about your parents." Cha-Cha shivered and quickly got up from the sofa. "I'll go pack up. Wait for me for 10 minutes. Fortunately, Cha-Cha was a big-hearted girl. She was still wailing just now, but when she was on the road, she started to become infatuated. Although Teacher Liang is a little strict. But in terms of looks, no one in our school can beat him. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.